All right, we've got Ole Miss now, head coach Mike Bianco, accompanied by players Thomas Dillard and Gunnar Hoagland. And we'll open it up with a statement from the head coach, and then we'll have questions for the players. Coach?
I just thought another really well-pitched game by us. Defensively, we were terrific. Another day where, we struggle, offensively, and I think, certainly a lot of credit has to go to Nolan and a very good Arkansas pitching staff, and some of it's, our own, I think, demise. But what the neat thing, I think, for me, sitting in the dugout is just the way that, the kids kept their composure, continued to play defense, continue to pitch so you can win this type of game. And, great effort by, Gunnar today, a true freshman. It just seems to get better and better with each outing. And, of course, a great finish by Miller and Caracci, at the back end.
Questions for the players now?
Gunnar, that was the longest outing of the season. Looked like the velocity was up a tick. Just how did you feel, and what do you think of your outing?
Yeah, I felt really good. Yesterday I was so excited to I knew I was going to get the ball, and I was just anxious the whole time, and then game time hit and I was just ready to go.
Hey, Thomas, you faced Crone and went better for you this time around, obviously. What was your mindset going to that at bat? I guess it was a fastball. Right. Dave Van Horn said maybe it wasn't in, maybe a little lower you like it. Just could you describe that at bat and how good it feel to get to Cronin after the way he shut you all down the other day?
Right. I mean, I've said it all year. I think he might have the best fastball in the country. I mean, he has electric stuff, and I think he's blown it by me a few times in college. So if anything, I was going to pull it into their dugout. I wasn't going to be late. So he ended up throwing one under the zone. And, with his ride on his fastball and his backspin, when it's up, it's really, really good. So luckily I got a pitch down and happened to put a good swing on it.
Thomas's back-to-back games, you guys have had to crawl back from behind late innings. What kind of is allowing you guys to just have the confidence to know that you're kind of going to come through later when you need it?
I think it's a few things. I think the fact that we have a veteran offense, we know that you have to play 9 innings. You have to get all 27 outs. And, the guys at the back, we want that challenge. We want the best bullpen arms. We want the best starters. Even if we have a bad, 7 innings, we still have 2 innings left to put an inning together. Just staying with it. That's what Coach B said all year. Just scrap and fight and put the quality of bat change together.
Gunnar, looked like they were squaring up against you pretty good in the fourth, and you were able to recover. How did you kind of get back on solid footing, I guess?
Yeah, I was just leaving pitches up in those 4th and 5th inning, and I was just, focusing on keeping the ball low in the zone and make quality pitches.
Thomas, this is a really dumb question. I think y'all have won y'all's last 5 games in the Powder Blues. Is there something to that mojo-wise?
Coach B talked about it in our meeting this morning. He's not a very superstitious guy, but if we keep winning him, I guess we'll have to bring him out tomorrow. But, I guess look good, feel good, play good.
Gunnar, what have you kind of learned throughout the year about working your way through a lineup a second, a third time?
It's just really a process. How to get my curveball better, and, you can't make as many mistakes in this type of level, and, it's just about learning and developing.
This is for Thomas. I was wondering what you thought of Connor Nolan today, and you saw him in Fayetteville early in the conference season. He's a freshman. He played football, so he didn't miss fall baseball. Just wondering what you thought, maybe comparing him today to what you saw several weeks ago, and just what you thought of him today.
Right. It's really impressive for him to be able to do both. It shows what kind of athlete he is. I think just like Gunnar, I think he's made some strides. Become a little bit more mature with how he pitches, throw all his pitches in the zone. And he knows that he has a defense behind him and a great offense. So he's throwing more strikes, I think. And, really good stuff, and always good to face guys like that. But he was definitely on his game today. He threw really good.
Thomas, you're closest with Parker than anybody. I mean, he'd been struggling there for a while. Now it's back-to-back saves for him. What's been the change for him from your vantage point, and how nice is it to see from your end?
Right. I think Parker's one of the toughest guys I know outside of baseball. In baseball, there's been a lot of stuff that hadn't gone his way in life. And, just a few bad outings is nothing to him. We know he's going to bounce back. We have all the confidence in the world in him. I mean, he's got some of the best stuff out there. So it's just a matter of time before he got out there and just shut everybody down again.
Anything else for the players?
Thomas, as you said, Cronin's gotten you a few times. When you're coming out of the on deck circle, you fully expect them to go get him to face you in that moment, and talk through your mindset as you're walking into that at bat.
Right. I think I walked up to the plate versus Vermillion, but at the back of my mind, I knew I was going to face Cronin. As soon as I saw Plunkett walk out there, I went back to the dugout, got my right-handed Evo shield, my right-handed helmet, put it on without even looking, knew it was Cronin, walked out to the on deck circle and just got ready. You have to gear up for his fastball. I mean, he's got a great fastball. Like you said, he's gotten me a few times, but today I just got a fastball that I could hit and happened to put a good swing on it. But he's going to have a lot of success here, and then I think he'll be a major leaguer one day.
Anything else for the players? Thank you, guys. You guys can step down. Thank you. All right, questions now for the head coach. Starting in the front.
Mike, that's a season and career high for Gunnar as far as innings are concerned. You needed it, obviously, because you're stretched pretty thin right now, pitching-wise. What did you think about him and how his stuff played up?
Well, he just continues to get better, week in and week out. And it's, as a coach, that's one of the rewarding things to watch a guy that, maybe wasn't at his best at the beginning of the year. And as you watch him, throughout the year progress, and it hadn't been easy for him. And as you guys know, the beat writers here, that, a lot of expectations, a lot of pressure on him. But he's handled it, and he's come through, and he was awesome, the last few weeks, not just at Tennessee. I thought he pitched well at LSU, and he just continues to get better. And so better command of all the pitches. I thought the stuff is better. I thought more velocity, more life on the fastball. The breaking ball just continues to come, and he's a real good one,
Mike, I think that's 8 innings now. Your bullpen has allowed, I think, a run on maybe 3 or 4 hits this week. Was that kind of something on the forefront of your mind this week, is to maybe get figured out and get more guys pitching well?
Yeah, I think obviously a lot's been made of that, over the last couple of weeks, and a lot of it's probably deserved, but some of it's probably just timing, of what it's happened and what's happened. But it was really, really good to watch, those guys. Of course, we've talked a lot about Parker, but to watch Miller, go through today. Myers has pitched well. Roth has pitched well. Just to continue to get innings out of those guys, because in tournament time, you need that. And but the other thing is just to get length out of the starters, which we've gotten. And if you look probably throughout the year, these 3 guys individually, Etheridge, Nikhazy, and Hoagland in their starts in SEC play, I don't remember getting that kind of length out of 3 guys consistently week in and week out. So I think the pitchers have done a terrific job.
Mike, offense as a whole hasn't really put it together that much since we've been here, but it's back-to-back games now that they've kind of been able to pull it back with their backs against the wall. From your experience, what kind of allows a team to bounce back later innings when they know they have to put some runs up?
And I think that's the biggest difference. I mean, I think it's easy to look at the scoreboard or look at the box score and look at, some of the negatives, and I understand it. As coaches, we look at the same thing, and, the lack of runs, the lack of hits, lack of opportunities. And so that's frustrating. But the one thing that we realize is that we do have good offense, and it's there. It's be one thing if we we've never done it or haven't done it against good competition. We've done it against good teams. We've done it against aces. We've done it against future first rounders. In this time period, we haven't done it. But back to your question, I think that's the big thing. I think our takeaway the last few games is bad bad as maybe the production or the results have been, the guys have hung in there. And there's been other times in the years where we haven't hung in there. There's been times where we just get shut out and lose, or we lose a close game. We've been able to hang in there, not just to be able to do what you said, to be able to, get a timely hit like Thomas did today, but be able to keep the game intact on the mound and defensively to where you have that opportunity.
Mike, you talked about those 3 starting pitchers, throwing Zach as well. All 4 of them have been pretty great this weekend. What do you think has enabled them to pitch so well on this stage when maybe they hadn't all 3 together or all 4 together done that in the past?
Well, I really think, my comment earlier, I really think they have. I think consistently, I can't remember a time where on Tuesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, not every week, but when you start looking at what they average a week, those starters, we'll have to get Sims to find out that stat. But I'd be surprised when you look at, and 2 of them are freshmen. One's a junior college transfer, and one was a reliever last year, and never really been a starter. And when you start looking at the, where the quality starts and how long these guys have gone, they've given us a lot of opportunity to have success.
Mike, do you feel like you guys have played your way back into a host conversation? What might a win tomorrow do?
I don't know that. It's a great question. I think it's time you start looking up and you go, wow, I don't know what the RPI will do, tonight and what it'll look like. But, it's funny. I think all the prognosticators of, where you are and what you're going to do. And we've tried to, as best you can, drain that out or not listen to it. But the truth of the matter is when somebody has 16 or 17, there's a lot of different metrics and, which one, eliminates somebody and pushes somebody ahead. But somebody told me today, if we won, I think it would be our 20th win against the top 50 RPI teams, and we've played, this would be the 40th game, which would lead the country in top 40 games, or top 50 games. And again, it's a lot of numbers and a lot of things that the guys in Indianapolis they'll figure out, but I guess you have to be careful. We might be climbing up the ladder.
Mike, it's been a trend this week with all the games. Runs have been hard to come by. Some games hits are hard to come by.
Sure.
What do you attribute that to?
Well, I know from our standpoint, can't speak, but if you look yesterday, somebody at breakfast talked about, gave a run total of how many runs were scored in 4 games. Look who pitched yesterday. And that's probably your answer. And so I don't know if it's a lack of offense. I think this is a pitching year, and I think there's certain games where when you're facing a Doxakis or a Doug Nikhazy and some others, but you're here. This is our 4th game, but we were fortunate that we pitched Phillips in one of the games. So we're pitching our number 3, who's really pitching well, a freshman, as we just spoke on. They're pitching their number 2. And, so some of that, I think, is just, the pitchers and the guys being ready to throw. And certainly not a lot of wind, but it's been warm. I didn't think that ball was getting out today. Goodhart's ball. I thought, he got a lot more of it than I thought he did because, not many balls go out where he hit that ball. But I just think it's the pitchers. I think it more than the hitters. I think it's, the pitchers and how well they've pitched here.
Mike, what's the pitching situation tomorrow? Who's available and who do you going to start?
Will start tomorrow.
Mike, I had a couple quick ones. 2 days ago, Cronin comes in. You guys got 2 guys on in the 8th, and he gets the better of you guys today. You guys got the better of him. I guess what was different about today? What do you think of your guys at bats?
I think Thomas, just said it, well, and he's really good, and I think sometimes those closers, it's unfortunate that there's so much made on one pitch or one at bat. I mean, he's only out there for a couple outs, and it's you kind of live and die with a pitch, but he's won a lot more than games like this, and he'll have a lot more success in his career. It's just sometimes when you're at the end and it's that close, sometimes it doesn't go your way. I think it has a lot more to do with that than anything. You can sit there and try to break it down, but at the end of the day, he faced two really good hitters in Dillard and Kessinger, and they got a couple good swings off. It's baseball.
Arkansas, is there any – Dave says he feels good about being a top 8 seed, but obviously we don't know what will happen. I haven't played Arkansas 5 times. You guys actually beat them 3 times, so that's pretty good. Do you feel like they're a top 8 seed? Just what do you think of them as a team
100%, not
overall?
even close. 100% national seed.
Anything else? One more, Coach.
All right, Mike, so you got to answer the question, are you superstitious when it comes to the powder blues? And will you wear them tomorrow?
We will wear them tomorrow. And I'll tell you what, Thomas, what I said in the pregame meeting is I don't really consider myself a superstitious guy where I wasn't ever, as a ball player, put the socks on a certain way or do things like that. But I am a believer in confidence and feeling good, and if they think a certain thing works, it be it uniform or their routine or superstition or whatever, I think that matters. And I think to say it doesn't matter is ludicrous. You watch golfers walk up to a putt the same way and do the same thing all the time. Is that superstition or is that routine to where they feel more comfortable and to where they're in their comfort zone of where they can execute things? And so you say, well, what's that have to do with the uniform? Well, if they believe that the uniform is going to help them win, they're probably a better shot. So yes, that's a long answer to we'll wear the powder blues tomorrow.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.